doable, then we will do it. All right, guys. What's up, graders? How you guys doing today? Hope everyone is doing good. We're here with the Scarab Dev. The one and only, the Pharaoh himself is up here in our tomb speaking about Scarab and what's going on. It's been a long trip, man. It's been a long trip in DeFi from the beginning of Tomb. We know you're one of the first OGs in the Tomb forks. And we'd like to welcome anyone from the Scarab Squad in our AMA today. We know tons of these raiders here. We're loyal to Scarab Squad. We've been involved with you guys for a long time. So we're very happy to have you here on the show, Pharaoh.
Happy to be here, man.
Awesome. So we'll start off at the beginning. I know you got lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff has occurred since the beginning. But let's start with yourself. How did you get involved in crypto? And more exactly, how did you get involved in the DeFi space?
So I think as most people, I got involved in crypto because I wanted to make money.
Right?
It was like I started investing around 2 years ago. I actually started with like $80 on Binance Smart Chain, making some dumb investments, making some big investments. Some things really panned out. Some things I got destroyed on. But I just loved it because, I've been a coder for a little bit now, for a while, and I'm actually taking a degree on basically business and tech. It just crypto to me just combined the two aspects really well because everything is coded in. Smart contracts are all developed by coders. It's all technological. It's all about programming, but it's got such a massive business aspect to it. It really combines technology and business to me very well. It's very fun. It's very dynamic. Everything moves so fast. So yeah, I just fell in love with it really fast because it just attracted me quite a bit to see that you can try anything in DeFi. You can really try to build something completely different and have it, go ballistic. And I just see it as a coder's playground. If you have the skills and if you have the knowledge and if you have the time and patience and dedication, you can do practically anything out here. And I think there's such an influx of funds, and because of our decentralized aspect, there's so much competition that it just creates a really vibrant space to build businesses and to build structures. So to me, it's just something that I love. I have a lot of fun here. I've already been a DGen for a while now, and yeah, I kind of fell in love with it, and our other devs, actually two of them have been coding for even longer, and they were involved in crypto for even longer than I have, and they approached me. They said they wanted to try this. I jumped on the opportunity. We started working on it basically as soon as they talked to me, we started working on it that same day. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride since then.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. We've seen a lot of Tomb forks come and go. We're glad you guys are still here. Just for anyone that does not know, you are on the FTM chain. You actually are very much involved in the FTM world now. But let's just explain to everybody why you chose this chain compared to some of the other chains to launch your fork.
Well, to be honest, I could sit here and say, well, it's just because it's fast transactions or low gas fees or any of that, but that wouldn't be true. To be honest, I'm here because I love the community. I've been a Fantom boy for a while. As soon as I dropped out of Binance Smart Chain, I migrated everything to Fantom, and I never looked back. The community is amazing. I think it's one of the most vibrant ecosystems on DeFi. In terms of DeFi, I think there's really no chain that can compare, at least, comparing their size and their market cap versus what they have in their DeFi ecosystems. I think there's nothing that like Fantom now. I think it's very vibrant. I think it's growing really, really fast. And yeah, we thought it would be a good place to start because I could go to Polygon. Let's be real. That's a fucking ghost chain. Uh, and or AVAX, and yeah, sure, AVAX is good, but it's not like Fantom. None of them are like Fantom. I think if you want a very vibrant ecosystem, you're either going to Ethereum or Fantom, and I was for sure not going to go to Ethereum because I want to spend $50,000 trying to deploy contracts. So yeah, Fantom was an obvious choice for us, and we were already very familiar with it, which gave us an advantage because we knew where to go and who to talk to. So that did give us an advantage, and yeah, it's not been a very difficult decision, to be honest. It was the obvious choice for us.
Yeah, it seems that FTM will punch above its weight class for right now, for sure. It should be worth a little bit more compared to all the stuff it has going on. So that's a pretty good answer. Thank you so much for that. So you guys have been around for a long time. There's the hardest thing so far for Scarab. And what are you the most proud of?
Well, the most difficult moment for us, for sure, was the day we got bank run. I still remember it vividly. We were kind of depressed because everything had been going perfectly at that up until then, and then all of a sudden we got hit hard. There was a market crash at the same time that a couple of whales started selling. It initiated a bank run event, and we got smacked. It was really bad, and it was very difficult for us because we were doing something we loved, and we doing something we love, and to just watch it suffer all of a sudden, it was pretty difficult to watch. Not gonna lie. Um, but we said that we would never give up, and we said that we'd stay here and build and continue to do what we do and keep our heads down and stay true. And that's what we did, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Um, I think it was for sure the hardest moment in my life, at least. But the thing that I'm most proud of, to be honest, is that we managed to stay alive up until this point after that, because that I haven't seen one Tomb 4 get hit this hard and still manage to survive. Not up to this point yet, at least. So I'm proud of that because we did manage to hold strong, to do what we said we would do, which is not to give up, continue building, and trying to improve and trying to climb out of the hole, which is what we're going to continue doing. And we're going to reward the people who trusted in us, and we're trying to do what we can to protect their vested interest in us. And yeah, I think that's what I'm most proud of. I'm not even that proud of the 22 million TVL, because that comes with having a tomb fork and being people aping onto you and all of those things. So I'm not that proud of it. What I'm really proud of is that we did something that many wouldn't have done and couldn't have done, which is, well, struggle, but maintain ourselves and continue fighting. And yeah, I think I am still proud of that, and I'm going to continue to do what I can to bring Scarab back to where it was, because yeah, it's kind of our duty to the guys who invested in us.
Yeah, you guys have done a great job. I mean, there's not enough to be said about devs that's today with their forks. That is that's more than KYC or all the rest of that stuff. All put together is to see a dev, in the chat, in the community nonstop, not giving up on their fork. That makes us feel great, man. So besides that point, what other type of security stuff do you guys have in place for Scarab?
So we got an audit by Certic. We went to the best. We thought it would be ideal. I think it's there's a lot of, I've been very public about this. I have a pretty big problem with the auditing business in DeFi. I think it's 90% a fucking scam. A lot of these auditing services charge you off their ass, and they put an intern who barely knows how to code looking at it, signs a few papers, and bam, you got an audit. Basically, just spending money for a guy to tell you you're cool, even if they don't know who you are. So we decided to go with the best because that would be the best way to protect our investors' interests. We currently do not have a multi-sig, as I know some people asked us. What we basically do is each of us has access to a specific wallet that is separate on separate computers or on ledgers, and basically this way, each of us has a responsibility and something that they control. And if someone gets attacked, it's never all of our funds at once. And the treasury wallet is kept in a computer that is never turned on or connected to Wi-Fi until we want to do a specific trade or something specific with the treasury.
Nice.
So we also doxed ourselves to trading tulips over at Tulip DAO, and the guys at Spirit Swap also know who we are. The reason for that is, well, we wanted to make sure that people knew that we were legit and that people can know that we won't rug them, because if we did, everyone would know who we are. So yeah, those are the current security measures. We've been considering bolstering them. We're actually well, as soon as they do it, as soon as Chainlink puts their keepers on Fantom, we're going to start using them to automate our transactions, and basically we won't have control over them. They will just happen automatically. That's something we're trying to implement, and we still have to design, because it's some of the decisions on tomb forks have to be done manually, because they're depends on the situation. It's not just something we could code. So we're thinking of how we can do it and how we can implement this. But yeah, on long term, we want to be, not even us are going to be controlling the system. It just does everything automatically. We just need to develop it, and since it's not something that people on the front end notice so much, we haven't focused on it yet, because it's more of a back end thing to do when we're more stabilized. Right now, we need to bring features that create value, and once we have enough, we can then start working on it.
That's great. That's great. You spoke about Spirit Swap, and actually, Spirit Swap has a lot of news with you and the stages that you're going to take next. Could you explain us a bit about Sin Spirit and about how you guys are going to work with the Spirit Swap?
Yeah. So first, to explain what Sin Spirit is, I first need to start with what In Spirit is and what Win Spirit is. So
Let's start at the
In
beginning.
Spirit, yeah, In Spirit is a revenue sharing locking token that Spirit developed. It's basically a wrapped version of Spirit that you lock away for a certain period of time. The minimum period is 2 weeks. The maximum period is 4 years, and you get more in Spirit to the Spirit that you put. The longer you lock it for, and it gives you access to a few things. It gives you access to governance power on their DAO. It gives you access to boosts on their boosted farms, so your APR will go up, and it gives you access to their weekly revenue sharing emissions. Basically, they do a distribution of Spirit weekly to Win Spirit holders, and wrapped in Spirit, so Win Spirit is basically a liquid version of that designed by another protocol. So for Sin Spirit, you take your Spirit, you trade it with us 1-to-1 for Sin Spirit, and we take your Spirit and we lock it permanently out of circulation forever, giving our protocol a position in Spirit, which gives us access to a few things. It allows us to get the boosts for the boosted farms. And with those boosts, we can then, on our platform, have yield optimizers that have the boosts without you needing an in-spirit position, because the protocol already has it. And you would be using our yield optimizers. Basically, we take a piece of the profits, and it also gives you access to weekly emissions like InSpirit does, but for InSpirit holders that place themselves in their vault, and we take a piece off that cut too. Essentially, this gives us a few things. It gives us obviously a new revenue generation tool. It allows our holders to have a parallel investment to Scarab that is lower risk and still helps our protocol. So if you're using Sin Spirit, it's not a very high risk investment because basically we have to guarantee that Sin Spirit is going to be around the value of Spirit, and to us, it's not very hard to guarantee that because basically for every Sin Spirit that's being emitted, we're getting Spirit. So we have something to back it constantly, and so we can control that price, and we can take a cut off the top to then help the RPEG and help Scarab and create a revenue stream for our protocol. So, our plan of action right now is this: we're gonna launch. I'm actually gonna buy a lot of Sin Spirit from my own personal wallet to add liquidity to the pool that's gonna be created on Spirit Swap. Basically, on launch, I'm gonna be using my personal wallet to do that. That way, we all immediately have a little bit of liquid in Spirit position. That way, we can assure that people are gonna have the boost on our farms, and we basically, as a protocol, initially all of the spirit that we're going to be getting is going to be used to get more Sin Spirit and basically create LPs of Sin Spirit and put them on that farm because we want to be the biggest liquidity provider on that farm, to ensure that our revenue stream is bolstered as much as we can. And then it also gives us access to something very cool, which is our protocol gets a lot of governance power over on Spirit Swap, and this allows us to do cool things like, well, pass a proposal to, for example, let's say we wanted to be able to stake bonds on Spirit Swap. We can actually try to pass that proposal, and because of our massive position in Inspirit, we have enough governance power to influence that vote. So it opens up a lot of doors for us. I think there's so many ways in which it can help the protocol and just help our longevity because let's say even if we're struggling for a bit, I can be helping the protocol and keeping it alive while using Sin Spirit, which is sustainable in and of itself, and it can help us sustain our protocol and continue accumulating for an event where we'll basically be using all of the funds we accumulated over a period of time and get us to peg on pieces. Basically, when we have enough Fantom and Spirit ready to go, we're going to be preparing an event where we'll basically spend like 1 or 2 days straight just trading on ourselves, just buying a little bit, letting people leave if they want to, and shake off paper hands as much as we can, and continue buying and buying until we get ourselves to peg. So we're preparing for an event like this, and Sin Spirit is a great way to give us access to that and to bolster our revenue streams.
Yeah, it seems like Spirit Swap and you have got hitched, and you're going to bring in the whole economy that they have to help stabilize the Scarab fork. That sounds pretty awesome. It sounds like you guys are going up a bit.
Yeah, we love the Spirit Swap team. The guys are great, to be honest. Like we've gotten to know them a little bit. They're amazing. And I think it's favorable for them too because if Scarab is healthy, for example, when Scarab was at 22 million TVL, we were actually the third or fourth biggest volume driver on their platform. So it is very helpful for them to have a strong tomb fork on their platform and on Spirit because nobody else can use our pools. They're only available at Spirit because that's the way T-share reward pools work. So it allows Spirit to have access to their own tomb fork, and I think us being healthy is beneficial to them, and they know it, and it's actually a part of the what I like about Sin Spirit is it helps our protocol, and the healthier we become, the more revenue we generate for Spirit Swap, which means the more revenue we generate for In-Spirit holders. And guess what? We're going to be a massive In-Spirit holder, so it also benefits the protocol. So it creates a cool little circle. Yeah, and I think it's been great working with them. They're amazing. I really like what they're doing, and yeah, I think it's going to be very beneficial for us.
It sounds great. is it just you on the team? I mean, you've mentioned a few teams about the devs, so there's more than one dev involved here, right?
Yeah. So there's two devs that people are probably familiar with, me and the Mummy.
Okay.
Then there's two other devs who work more on the back end. Me and the Mummy usually take care more of the business side of things, even though we're both developers too, and that we can both code, and if needed, we're both coding. But yeah, we mostly handle the business side of things, and I take care of negotiations, partnerships, setting up AMAs, going to AMAs, all that stuff, and the Mummy handles community stuff and things like that. And the other two backend devs is basically one is on full stack and one is on Solidity, and this is how we work. One of the devs is not even on Discord. He's not a very people person, so he doesn't really show up. He sometimes pops in to check by, but he's not very much a people person. The other dev sometimes shows up and people love it when he does. It's Two-Ton came on Discord. He he loves to just screw around a little bit with the community sometimes, so he pops up
That's fine.
to say hi and things like that. But yeah, it's four of us, and then we
That's
have basically an external team with more members that we pay.
nice. So you talked about how this thing with spirit swap and everything is going to help with the peg. The peg is a word that's used a lot, and every dev thinks about the peg in a whole other way. Some think that the peg is false and it's just a mind trick. Some think the peg is a thing that could be attained. Some think that the peg is a thing that has been attained. What is your view on the peg and how it plays into everything, and if you guys will be able to attain a strong peg?
Well, I think certainly there's a point to be made about the way people refer to the peg. Sometimes I feel like people feel like the peg is something that is always attained, is attained through price fluctuations on Fantom and things like that. Some people believe that it's basically a giant lie and that the system is broken. My belief is sort of in the middle. So to me, it is possible to attain the peg and to maintain a stable price versus Fantom, but I think the protocol needs changes for that to happen. The protocol, the way it's designed now, it doesn't work. It takes a lot of money, and to actually maintain the peg, you need something to stabilize that, to give you that value. For us, we always saw this as one way. We need collateralization. We need to be able to back up part of Scarab. If we don't have anything to back them, then we don't really have anything. We just have speculation. And that speculation is not going to hold the peg for you, because as it goes great, it's awesome and it seems unstoppable, but it only really takes a couple of whales making giant candles for all of that speculation to go out the window. If you're counting on speculation alone, you're going to get screwed because the market isn't always green. So we need something behind you that will give you a bottom. I think it's based on a few things. I think it's based on community trust. Once the community sees that you have a way to control the peg, that you have a way to actually stabilize it, that you can bring it back because you have the funds for it, they feel a lot more safe. For example, in Tomb, people are there and have been there because of Harry, because they know that
Hoe dat je
because they
via een
know that
Snapchat-naam Joyce stuurt, zo zijn piemel en al, en dat hij zo fucking in zijn bed ligt met een ding aan, dat hij bij ligt.
I can't talk.
Ja, echt wel.
Ik
Denk
weet het.
jij dat we daar kunnen achter?
Nee, moeilijk denk ik.
Zo,
Yeah, but we're here. It seems that your microphone cut off just a
Ja, oké.
little
Nee,
bit.
echt niet. Ik weet niet of dat moet. Ik
Can
zoek
you
allemaal
hear her?
op Google.
I'm getting
Op Google is zoeken, maar ik weet het zelf niet.
I'm trying to mute someone.
Well, stack one
Oh,
screenshot.
that's fine.
We
Like,
did. Okay,
Just
you.
take a second.
yeah, okay. Sorry. I can listen to myself speak because someone's talking. But like I was saying, people invest in Tomb because they know Harry's gonna do buybacks and has the funds to keep them at peg, and that confidence really matters. It's how it's holding up. So I believe that we need two things. We need enough revenue to give us a bolstered treasury, bolstered enough that people just seeing that we can control the peg, it makes them a lot less antsy and a lot less scared to invest, a lot less nervous. It makes bank runs a lot more unlikely because, yeah, if I get hit and I'm 20% down because a couple of people made giant sells, um, and I'm looking at a tomb fork and thinking, yeah, this is very unstable. I'm scared. Of course, I'm going to leave. But if I'm looking at the tomb fork and they're telling me in my treasury I have enough to back up everything they sold and more, that way I feel a lot more comfortable because it's like, okay, keep selling. I'm probably going to keep buying because these guys are going to do a buyback large enough to make me go at peg, so I'm going to be at profit. And that is what we need. That confidence is what we need. That trust is what we need. And to do that, you need funds, and that's what we're doing right now. Is we're trying to acquire those funds because the only way the system is sustainable is if it makes sense. If you don't have any backing to your emissions, it doesn't really make sense. So we need a bolstered treasury. We need a deep liquidity pool. We need a lot of community trust. But I think we can reach the peg and we can control it. It's just going to take a lot more systems, and we're working actually on a way to change up the protocol a little bit. We're developing some things that we're going to be unveiling in the future, but yeah, we don't. Basically, what we're seeing is this protocol doesn't really work unless it's tweaked, unless there are drastic changes that are applied, and yeah, that's what we're working on right now.
Oh, that's great. It seems like someone is speaking really quickly. Let me see who's speaking. Any one of us speaking? All right, I'm going to get back to it. All right, so you mentioned in the past about trying to add the liquidity to Sin Spirit. Will the liquidity be added in FTM or in Scarab? And is there a time frame for the launch of that?
No. So liquidity for Sin Spirit is launched in Spirit because it's traded 1-for-1 with Spirit. The launch date is today at 10 p.m. GMT. So 3.5 hours from now, we're going to be launching our Spin Spirit model. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be adding liquidity. I'm gonna be probably the first liquidity provider, if not the second or third, depends on if people beat me to it or not, because I'm gonna have to do it at the same time everyone else does.
Right.
But yeah, I intend to be adding liquidity as best as I can, not just because it will give liquidity for our new token, but also because it will give our protocol enough in spirit to begin with to provide the boost to our farms, which is very important because it really is one of the giant pieces of all of this is having those boosts. So yeah, that's something I'm gonna do as soon as we're up on launch. We should have, I don't know, like $10,000 or $20,000 of liquidity, something like that. And yeah, I sincerely don't really mind taking the hit. I'm trying to help Scarab, and this is one of the ways we can do it. Yeah, it's been a tough road, but I'm so happy that we're gonna have this launch because I really see it as an opportunity to attract a whole new crowd of investors and to give another stabilizer point for Scarab because it actually doesn't take that much money if we play our cards right to get us up and to control our peg. We just need a solid revenue stream, and this is what we're going to be building with Spin Spirit.
Yeah, this is great, man. You said 20K you're going to fuse into the whole Sin Spirit. Is that each day, or is that just at first? I mean, what's the schedule on that, or just kind of read it as it goes along?
Excuse me, I didn't understand. I'm gonna use my spiritual.
Oh no, that's
Oh,
fine. There's been a mention for 20K from Sin Spirit to buy back Scarab.
yeah. So the way we're gonna do it is the first thing we're gonna do is as soon as we're getting revenue and we're getting spirit for the protocol, we're gonna be breaking it into LPs, make Sin Spirit LPs, add more liquidity to that pool. We're going to be doing this for, well, we're thinking it's probably going to take a week, maybe less, maybe a little longer, depending on how everything goes, to bolster our revenue. After that, we're going to be accumulating Spirit and Fantom to do buybacks of Scarab, over time. We aren't seeing, a lot of people think, okay, they're going to use Sin Spirit as a shot in the arm and just get themselves to peg. And if it creates enough hype and people start doing a lot of buys, then sure, we can do that. But my strategy right now is to build up because I don't want to be reliant on anyone else to get me up to peg. If I don't have enough to get me up to peg by myself, then I don't want to be reliant on people because that's the confidence that Harry has. For example, he knows he can get to him to peg without needing other people. That confidence matters a lot. It makes a big difference. So that's what we're focused on. We could be doing precipitous buybacks of Scarab and even buying Scarab now, but we would be used as exit liquidity and be wasting money. And that's now we can't afford to make mistakes like that right now. We need to be very tactical. We need to be very careful with how we approach this because it's a it's a difficult game and we have to win it. So
Right.
we're going to be very careful about how we start investing and how we start using our revenue to buy Scarab because we need to be very precise about this. And I know it's going to have to take a lot of patience from the community because they might be looking. I'm going to be honest. You might look at us and have $50,000 in the treasury, and I still tell you, if we're not close enough, I'm not going to do buybacks. And the reason for that is I'm not going to waste all of that money because if I do that and then we get dumped on, we're all screwed. So I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to have to ask the community to have faith in us. I think we've proven that we've done everything that we can for the protocol and that we have its best interest in our minds. And I think we're going to have to ask the community to have some patience, to have some understanding, to trust us, because we're doing everything that we can. We're just trying to be smart about how we do it because we can't afford mistakes at this time.
Right. That's for stuff by involving NFTs or other type of things from external sources. Are you guys trying to make a use case for Scarab?
So we're going to be launching some more games that are going to be using Scarab instead of Fantom. The reason for it is exactly to create buy pressure on Scarab to give people another reason to buy Scarab or to use their Scarab tokens. We're also going to be implementing. We actually do have NFTs coming up as part of our, not just integrated into our game. They're going to be basically be stakeable and to earn revenue of our game. But they're also going to be usable in a gamify UI that we're going to be developing. And we already have an artist working on the NFTs. I can actually drop a sneak peek over here in a little bit of one of the NFTs. That obviously this isn't the full one. It doesn't have the props and anything like that where I can't reveal too much yet. But yeah, we already have an artist working on our NFTs. They're looking pretty cool.
Yeah,
There's a pixelated style that we drop. I'm gonna be dropping it here. Let me just find it.
Yeah, that's cool. And we've got a NFT part of our Tomb Raider chats, and so there's a little think you can just drop that in there when you guys have some and you guys have a launch that you want to put out and share with the Raiders. Just go ahead and drop it in the NFT section. We would love that.
Yeah, we should. I'll do that for sure.
All right,
I'm
I'm just
drop.
gonna ask you real quick. Everybody needs to make cash. Everybody needs to make cash. The investors need to make cash, and the devs, they should make cash. What is your strategy for profits with this? Like, how are you guys going to take them? How are you going to avoid a huge dump when you do take them? And just like, what's your view on that?
So our view on taking profits is simple. Obviously, we're here to make money too. I'm not Mother Teresa. I didn't do this just to make everyone else money, obviously. But our strategy has been the same from the beginning. We actually, when we're above peg, we take profits every 6 hours. The reason we do it every 6 hours is because we don't want to amass Scarab for like 5 days and then do a dump because that's dangerous. So we try to take profits every 6 hours. We are actually very, very carefully about how we dump. For example, even on our DAO, sometimes when we were above peg, we dumped Scarab for Fantom when we were vastly above peg and just left it in DAO for buybacks. The reason for it is, well, if you're massively above peg and the protocol is designed to push you down, it's smart to drop that Fantom because the treasury and the DAO are going to need funds. So that's something we do. But on our profits, basically what we do is every 6 hours the dev cut, and every 18 hours, 10% of what was farmed in the treasury is used as payment for us. That is what we take. It's the dev payment and 10% of the claim every 18 hours that we have on the treasury, which actually was never that big, to be honest. But that is how we do it. How we minimize our impact is very simple. If I'm gonna have a big price impact, I can't sell that much, and we usually slash it if we have to. If I'm close to peg, we see that we're gonna do damage. For example, we've never put ourselves below peg because obviously that is a very dumb move. I'm not gonna pay myself and dump my fucking printer. That would be stupid. So we are very careful about how we do it because we can't affect the peg. And then our second rule, and we never dump G Scarab. At least when we're above peg, not to pay ourselves. We might dump G Scarab to buy Scarab, but we don't dump G Scarab to pay ourselves. And you actually get like 80 G Scarabs every week. Like it's part of the Tomb protocol. I think every Tomb protocol receives 80 shares tokens every week or something. We actually didn't dump ours for ourselves. We got it in dev fund, and we used all of that G Scarab to do buybacks of Scarab when we were falling, and now we just stacked it up into what we have in a treasury. But yeah, well, when we're below peg, it changes completely because when I'm below peg, we actually don't take profits. We haven't been paid in a while. But yeah, we can't because if I dump G Scarab, I'm dumping a resource that I need to buy Scarab, and I'm also dumping it while it's cheap, which is also a mistake. So I can't take profits out of G Scarab, and I can't take profits out of Scarab because, well, if I'm under peg, I'm not going to make the problem worse. So actually, when we're under peg, we unfortunately cannot pay ourselves. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is how it is. Yeah, those are our rules and our strategies to collect payment. We think it's the most fair, and our vested interest is in keeping the protocol alive. So we always try to be careful because I know that if I keep the protocol going for as long as I can, that makes me more money in the long run than just trying to be greedy and dumping on myself and ending up ruining my protocol by taking massive, massive profits. So yeah, that is our strategy for taking
Absolutely.
profits with our protocol.
Seems fair, and it seems like a long-term view, man. That's the truth. I'm just gonna ask you real quickly. a question. I mean, like we know that Harry came around. We know at first he was upset about the forks, and then he spoke to some folks and he settled down and kind of jumped on board with a lot of these forks. You mentioned that Harry is responsible for keeping Tomb alive and well when it fell over there in the beginning. What is your view on anybody being able to own code on these forks, or do you see this as a thing that will change every week and then there'll always be new code and you can't own a code?
Well, I don't think you can own it. The MIT license that he pointed to when he made the original tweet is a public license. That is the meaning of it. It's public. So everything is open source in DeFi, and I think it should remain that way, and I think it will remain that way. And we should be very worried if someone can actually change that, because, well, it's going to slow us. It's going to slow us down, because the way we move and the way we can move faster is by people being able to take what someone else did and build upon it immediately. If I launch something today that people find, that it's good, that it's a good idea, that it's a solid foundation, tomorrow they can be working on it and putting their own spin on it and trying to improve it. And this is how we really grow in DeFi. It's why our ecosystem is so vibrant, because it is a coder's playground. If we suddenly make everything, private, and you can't take other people's code or you can't use it, it's gonna be creating massive issues, because it's gonna slow down our process by a lot. It's gonna make it a lot less competitive. If we allow people to start suing others based on copyright infringement, we're gonna allow whales to basically run the game of starting new projects, because they're going to have the power to stop everyone from doing it. And it's going to take away one of the most gigantic advantages that DeFi has over traditional finance, which is anyone can do this. Like, anyone who knows how to code and who knows what they're doing and has a good understanding of what they're trying to do, they can try and they can succeed, because it's all decentralized, and investors can find your idea interesting, see that you've made a good implementation, and find it appealing, and put their money in it. And it's easy to find them if you're doing things well. So if we allow someone to then come around and sue this up and coming project that the dev has been building because they used some piece of code that was theirs, this is going to stunt that growth, because now massive projects that are already established are going to kill their competition before it even starts. And we can't let that happen, because it's going to kill our DeFi ecosystem very quickly. I don't think he's going to follow through on that one. I think it's a bad move. It's going to open up a massive can of worms. And I really hope nobody tries to do that, because even though I do agree that some regulation does need to come on DeFi, because something needs to be done to stop all these rug pulls and all these scams that have been happening, I disagree very much that we should do anything of that sort, or even if any regulation that was to be implemented in DeFi would have to be very, very, very carefully thought out. And honestly, I don't even trust the government to do it. I think regulation should be something that we, as a community and with the networks, try to actually develop into our platforms, because it's keeping this decentralized is the best way to go about it. It's been working great so far. I don't think we should change our approach now, but yeah, I think it's a dangerous idea, to be honest.
Well, that's great, man. You've talked to us so much about so much stuff here. We've seen you guys grow from the beginning. It seems like you guys are still growing, and it seems like this is not going to be the end of it. Like, you guys are going to keep on trying to come up with new stuff to assist you. If, like, we spoke about a lot of stuff here, but if I was brand new, just arrived on the scene, could you explain the process of Scarab, how I would take my cash and how I would play it in the Scarab world.
Well, now that we're under peg, I would do this. As soon as after the Sin Spirit launch, if I was investing, I would be thinking, okay, I think Scarab. I would be as an investor, I would be thinking, okay, Scarab might be a risk investment. I'm gonna be careful with how I invest. So for now, I really wouldn't buy G Scarab because it's very volatile and a lot of things can happen. And if you don't recover the peg, it's not going to recover its value. So I'll be buying Scarab, Fantom LP, and putting around 50% of my basket of assets that I'm willing to put on Scarab, over on Scarab Fantom LP. Use my G Scarab, or use the auto compounder to basically compound my G Scarab onto more Scarab Fantom LP, or if you want to play it differently and do want to accumulate some G Scarab, if you believe that we're going to go above peg, then I would stack up my G Scarab as much as I can and wait till that happens. And then I would put my other 50% of my basket of assets into Sin Spirit Spirit LP and just farm there. Maybe go to our auto compounder and farm with it. And I think that would be a solid approach to to just having a safe, relatively safe investment, because Sin Spirit can run independently of Scarab's condition. So you really protect half of your investment right there, and you can be invested into something that gives obviously greater rewards and has a greater payout, but obviously comes with a little bit of greater risk. So that is how I would play it if I was an investor going into Scarab right now.
Yeah, I think you broke it down and explained it very well for us. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I want to thank you guys for coming. I want to thank you guys for listening in. We have been working very hard to continue bringing new things. We have something very cool planned after Sin Spirit, and I can also drop a little bit of a sneak peek and say that we might be going into the Beats Wars too. But yeah, I can't reveal up too much on that yet. And yeah, we're preparing very cool stuff. We're gonna continue working. This doesn't really motivate us. I don't really care right now what the peg is, as long as we can continue building and as long as we can continue improving. I know that the more we create that has real value and generates real revenue, the less I have to be worried about what if I have enough people coming in, because I can maintain myself almost independently. So we're going to continue working towards this goal, because it is how we view this ever going successfully. And yeah, we're trying to create an ecosystem that doesn't rely on having a single giant whale or a single guy controlling everything and controlling the price. We're trying to do this like it's supposed to be, which is decentralized. And yeah, it's a difficult game. We're going to continue doing what we can, and I want to thank everyone who supported us so far, because it really means a lot. We couldn't do it without our community, and we couldn't do it without the guys that trusted in us. So I want to thank everyone for that. You're allowing us to live our dream, and we hope we can repay that.
Arrow, thank you very much, and we'd like to thank all of the Scarab Guild that's in here today and all the creator family. You know that this is a place where devs could talk to raiders and insiders and kind of share stuff. You're welcome back anytime. We see you here in the dev chat all the time, and we love you being here. And feel free to come back, and anyone who came here for the first day on the AMA, feel free to stay and see all the AMAs that we have. We always try to provide the best alpha to the community. So once again, I want to thank you very much for your time, man. You've explained a lot, and you've helped us out a lot here today.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you guys for coming. Always cool talking to you. Always cool chatting with my community. I love it, and the Raiders are awesome. If you like Tomb Forks, you can check them out. They do have my stamp of approval. They have some pretty good advice, especially navigating new Tomb Forks. So yeah, if you're a degenerate and you like hopping onto neutral forks, they're risky and they do have some useful tips to navigate these waters because if you're not very careful, you're gonna get wrecked. So yeah, if you're one of those degenerates, please do check out the Raiders. They're very cool. I've been a fan of them for a little bit now. So yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks again.
Awesome.
Can't wait to see it.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
great day.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care, man.
Thanks,
We'll see
guys.
you soon.
Much
All
appreciated.
right, Creator family, thank you very much. I want to remind you all to go to the AMA section and upvote whatever question you think was the best. And yeah, feel free to post links and to cross post and to kind of bring us up to what's new and what's next. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you around.
At one point, we had 50 viewers. That's the best yet.